Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting for this Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. I will call our meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. and I'll ask everyone to stand for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras est pour Philippines, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. Car qui voilà glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this morning? Councillor Finn?
I just have one addition. I guess we can call it 8.6, Stars Air Ambulance, please, and thank you.
Okay, 8.6, stars.
I'd like
Mr.
to
Grant?
add an item for discussion on the ACI grant support letter.
Letter of support, 8.7.
Roger.
VCI. Ms. Thompson, did you capture both of those? Perfect, thank you. Is there a member of council that would like to approve the agenda for the May 20th, 2026 regular meeting of council with the addition of 8.6 stars and the addition of 8.7 for the letter of support for the ACI grant? Councillor Boehm, thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Any corrections or amendments to the May 6, 2026 regular meeting of council minutes? Is there a member of council that would like to approve these minutes? Councillor Jeffrey, thank you very much for that. It was like everyone had their hand up the first time. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. We do have one proclamation this morning. It is for Seniors Week. Seniors Week is from June 1st to June 7th, 2027. And whereas senior citizens have made and continue to make many contributions that strengthen our community, our town, and our province. Seniors are a vital part of our families, and by giving generously of their wisdom and experience, they enrich our daily lives. Whereas many seniors are independent and active, and by challenging the stereotypes of aging, they are leading the way for future seniors. Whereas a more positive attitude toward aging is creating new opportunities for seniors. Whereas by highlighting awareness of senior citizens, their achievements, values, and contributions will continue to be recognized and celebrated. Therefore, I, Mayor Nancy Dodds, on behalf of the Council for the Town of Drayton Valley, do hereby proclaim June 1st to the 7th as Seniors Week in the Town of Drayton Valley, dated this 20th day of May 2026. And that is it for our proclamations this morning. We do have I believe we have a seniors tea that will be happening that week as well. It is a regular council meeting. Typically what happens is we break for lunch and go over and visit with the seniors at the Legion and help serve lunch and say a few words there. So that will be happening the Wednesday of that week. We have no further proclamations, no public hearings or delegations this morning. We'll jump right into our decision items. First up is 8.1. This is for the delegation bylaw 2026-02B, and this is Ms. Thompson this morning. Good morning.
Do you have any questions for me? We went over it in GMP.
So this is for the delegation bylaw, the draft, and then the FOIP bylaw. I just have to look at my notes. Any questions from council members? I think I did have a question. Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
Noticed under the definitions, the head has the meaning as in section 1H. Oh, sorry, of the Access to Information Act. Never mind. I thought it was of this bylaw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the delegation bylaw under OGA and ATIA. So it repeals FOIP, and there's more guidelines in it now, so.
So what has all changed with this bylaw and the FOIP bylaw?
What's changed in it now is that the positions responsible for access to information and privacy, the positions themselves have to be noted in bylaw.
So that is, when you speak of the positions, that is designation of head, delegation of authority, and the delegation of the privacy officer?
Yeah, and the ATI clerk.
Okay, so my only question with that was, and I think it's in my next one here. When it comes to those changes of delegating to 3 individuals now, how does that change for the planning world? So, because as a DO or an assistant, you'd have to access this information, are they having to go through you? Because I can imagine that would make things very complicated for them.
So if somebody is requesting information on permitting, it comes through the ATI clerk, because we still have to record that it was released. So Dina just directs them to Sue, and Sue does all of the searching and all of the putting together and the release of information.
Do we see that as being a bottleneck or a holdup when it comes to our permits coming through?
No, I think it actually simplifies it for Dina. It gives her more free time, and Sue's pretty quick at and has access to what she needs. So I think it actually creates more efficiency.
Okay, did you have a comment on that, Mr. Grant?
No, I think Nancy covered it off well. These are simultaneous processes.
Okay, yeah, that would be my only concern is when it comes to when you're building those applications that are coming in, that the clerk or assistant then would have to go to you or to Sue to gather that information, and if there's 5 applications on the desk, how is that going to be slowing up the process? But I guess we'll find out if there is, then we have the ability to change that back.
On the land use planning and development side, it's like I say, these are simultaneous processes. So as they're going through this, there's also the stuff that we have to do at the same time, so these things can run. I don't see this as any impediment at all.
No.
I think it should be fine, but we will monitor to make sure. If there does seem to be a problem, we'll revisit it.
Perfect. Any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
So somebody goes on vacation for 2 weeks, that's in one of these roles, is there a delegated authority under this, or is that?
Then either myself or Sue take over. So somebody's always covered, and there's specific email addresses for them. They go both to Sue and I. So if somebody submits a request, it's dealt with that day.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a member of council would like to make a motion? Go ahead, Councillor Finn.
Sure. I make a motion that council give first reading to delegation bylaw 2026-02B as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Next up, we have 8.2, which is the Privacy Management Program Policy. This is C0326. Ms. Thompson again.
This is also part of the new privacy legislation, that we have to have a privacy management program implemented and in place by June 11th of 2026.
Perfect. So this is an additional policy?
This is an additional policy, yes.
Okay, any questions around this policy? Is there a member of council would like to make a motion? Councillor Brooks?
I move to approve the Privacy Management Policy, Program Policy C-03-26 as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And part of this delegation bylaw is 8.3, which is the Artificial Intelligence Use Policy, C0626. Go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
So this is again part of the privacy management program. It just puts some guardrails around the use of AI and what you are and are not allowed to drop into it.
And with these new changes that we're seeing in these policies and the bylaw being brought forward, is this what we're kind of seeing standard across municipalities as the legislation has changed now?
Yeah. This is something all municipalities are either hiring a third party to get into place for them, or they have been working on it since 2025 when the legislation was released.
And they would have similar, a delegation bylaw, the privacy management program, as well as an artificial intelligence use policy?
Yeah.
And there is a recommendation, I think that there was, because I know that come out of governance and priorities, there was a Schedule A attached for the approved AI tools. That's the Microsoft pilot, right?
Yes.
And that was the only?
There also was an additional paragraph added to the policy, just stating that it was more for records management, because we do have automated AI functions in operations. So this does not include the automated AI functions, which also do not collect personal information. We just already utilize them.
Okay, and we don't have to include those in the schedule?
Not in the schedule, no.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a member of council like to make a motion? Councillor Jeffrey?
I move that council approve the artificial intelligence use policy C0626 as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. Oh, sorry, did you want to make that again? We didn't have the microphone on. And I just realized, Ms. Thompson, you're not over there recording this, so you're recording it all over there.
Okay, well, I'll repeat it then. Sorry. I move that council approve the artificial intelligence use policy C-06-26 as presented.
Thank you very much for that. Were you able to record that? I sure did. Okay, perfect. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. I'll give you a minute to get back to your other desk. So next up this morning, we have 8.4. This is the Drayton Valley Municipal Library Board. This is for the members at large appointment. This is Mr. Grant this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, council. As demonstrated, we have an obligation to have a certain number of people on the library committee. The library manager, Rebecca, sent us a letter respectfully recommending that council appoints Ms. Denise Highfield to the library board for a three-year term effective immediately. This complies with the board composition and fills another spot that needs to be filled.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions for administration? Is there a member of council would like to make a motion? Councillor Finn?
I move that council appoint Ms. Denise Highfield to the Drayton Valley Municipal Library Board for a three-year term beginning May 20th, 2026, ending October 31st, 2029.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. 2029 does seem a far ways away. Right, only 3 years away. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. We are just cruising through the decision items this morning. Next up is 8.5. This is Mr. Rossing this morning. This is for the Traffic Safety Bylaw 2026-03P. This is for second and third reading, and for the speed limit policy as well for May 20th, 26. And I will just ask if we can just pause for a moment. Councillor Wheeler is just in another meeting and she wanted to come back in, so I can send her a text, but I'm going to just grab her to come be part of this conversation.
So who's the chair now? I have a question.
I think she was hoping to be part of the conversation. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'll probably slow us down because that's just typical, but that's okay. So I think this is the fourth or fifth time that we've had a conversation regarding the new proposed traffic safety bylaw. So since the last time we discussed this on May 6th, and first reading of the bylaw passed, there's been a couple slight amendments to the bylaw, including in those amendments is Schedule B and C, just based on some additional feedback from the province, just wanting the maps, every road they wanted labeled, correction of spelling error, correction of some measurements of signs, change some wording as it previously referenced election signs if they were posted in non-compliance, that the town could dispose of them immediately. We've removed that aspect to now move forward with, in essence, it would just fall under the Municipal Government Act. So if the signs weren't claimed after 30 days, then at that point, we could dispose them at that point. Addition of a definition of a highway right-of-way, just tied in with some of our highway right-of-way aspects that were already included in the bylaw. And then just a little bit more clarity on those information signs. So I've done a red line item that's been included in the agenda for this, for what those changes are as it pertains to the signs, as that's kind of been the more topic that we've discussed. So what we're looking for today is second and third reading of the bylaw as presented, and then should the bylaw be passed, we would be forwarding it to the Minister of Transportation and Economic Corridors for final approval. The province is anticipating that's a 2 to 3 week window, but we would get that sent off as soon as possible. And then following, if second and third reading of the bylaw happens today, we'd be looking to pass the proposed speed amendment or speed policy as presented as well. So subject to that, open to any questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Go ahead, Councillor Boehm.
So if we have specific concerns about some of the speeds, if we wanted to change those, can we do that after we pass the bylaw? Before we pass the policy, or should we be discussing that before we even pass the bylaw?
Both of them, like, if we were to pass the bylaw today, we need to have the policy passed today as well. If there is any last minute changes that need to occur, those can occur, but we do need both of them to pass on the exact same day. So just to remind council as well, we've talked about speed limit policy. I think this is the fourth or fifth time as well. So if there are any last minute additions, still happy to make them, but when we get to the policy, the only amendments that administration is proposing is to change the speed limit of the
40
campground
there?
From 20 up to 30. So that's already captured in the proposed. But if there is any current amendments, that would be after the bylaw passes, we would then make amendments to the policy to reflect those.
Sounds good.
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. Yeah, so just on page 65, we have our fine schedule. And it is a fine schedule indeed. Sorry, I'll probably do it again. Just 40 and 41. We have cause or permit obstruction or obstacle to be placed on or above highway, and person conduct/position themselves on highway in manner to cause an obstruction. And those fines are both $300. And I'm thinking, like, that's way too low. Like, if people are obstructing the highway, I'm like, $1,500 to start, right? Like, I got no time for that. You know what I mean? Ambulance needs to get through, get out of the way, right? People are going to work. That's my opinion. I would make that amendment. Frankly, I think $1,500 is too low, but that's a start. That's one. So, if I were to amend that, or if I was to do any amending, that's what I'd like to amend, is that fine schedule there.
Okay.
And then it would go from a fine schedule to an excellent schedule.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brooks, for your comment. Is there anyone else that is seeing value in increasing that significantly?
I'll just comment on that as well in addition.
Go ahead.
When we're doing the research on fine amounts, we're trying to base it off of what's kind of those industry standards, if you want to call it that. And then second thing that we also need to be mindful of as well is there's provincial legislation that starts stipulating at when a fine is a certain amount, it changes how you can issue different charges and stuff like that. So when we hit a threshold of $1,500, we actually have to make it a Part 2 ticket, which means if it's not paid now, the individual is going to warrant. They're going to end up in jail if they don't pay it. So again, just being mindful of is it worth all those administrative barriers? And are we going to be looked at from the judicial system as that's too heavy, and then they're making comments at the judicial level on something like that? So again, that's council's decision to make. Administration's recommendation, if there was an increase, keep it under $1,000, a maximum of $1,000. But again, administration would also recommend we stay with what's kind of similar in other municipalities. So.
Councillor Brooks?
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. For a first-time offense, sure, I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to $1,000, but we need to add a second and third offense sort of thing. You know, I don't know if you can tell, but I got like no tolerance for that. You know, it's a public roadway, you know, we're all supposed to be able to use it. So if I were to make an amendment, I would move to make this amendment. And then we'd pass the policy? Is that?
I think if you want to make a motion to amend, we'll vote on that right now.
Sure, okay.
And I just comment on second and third offenses. As we can see in this bylaw, there is no second and third offenses. If we look at higher level of legislation from provincial standpoint, from the federal standpoint, if an individual is being charged with violation ticket, one of those lower level regulatory things at those higher level of governments, they don't have a second and third offense. It's just your first offense. So we're also trying to align some of our legislation with that as well. The problem that comes when you have a second and third offense that's actually listed in the bylaws is then we have to prove at trial that you've actually been convicted of those second and third offenses, or the first and second offense, which ultimately then we have to pull records from the court system, which we have to pay for all that kind of stuff as well. So where we've moved in the direction is having a first offense. The first offense, if this is the 5th time in the last year, at some point we can revert to the public interest provisions of provincial legislation, that if it's in the provincial or in the public's interest, we just move it to a part 2 again. Now it's just a summons to court, and then the judge will make that determination on how much it is. So if it's something that's that egregious, that's causing that big of a concern, we can still do that on first offense if they are meeting those public's interest criteria. But if it's just your normal regulatory, smaller, lower level type thing, then we would just revert to your first offense, what's in the specified penalty, so.
Okay. So then,
So Councillor Clark and Councillor Bohm, did you have a comment to Cody's? I know you had your hand up, Colin.
I do have a couple questions in regards to this. So this would this relate to people, let's say they were wanting to protest, decided to protest on the highway, probably a very unlikely place for people to, but I know sometimes that happens. This fine would then apply to those people?
It
Is
could,
that
yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're allowed to protest, but on sidewalks, right? They're not allowed
Correct.
to actually protest on highways and roadways. Okay, sounds good. Yeah. And I know it's specifically highways. Does that also relate to any other roads in Drayton Valley or specifically just highways?
Yeah, so that's based off of the provincial definition of highway, which is quite broad. Highway is pretty much any roadway, thoroughfare, sidewalk, ditch. It's quite extensive of what that actually means. So lots of times when we think of highway, I'm driving down Highway 22, I'm driving down Highway 16, but a highway is technically considered 50th Street. It's considered 47th Avenue, whatever, right? So.
Councillor Clark, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, that was going to be the question, is definition of highway, and I figured that's what it was. But just one other thing, Part 16 miscellaneous is just spelled incorrectly. So
Part 16, which, sorry?
miscellaneous is
Oh,
just
okay.
spelled incorrectly.
Thank you.
Right? Okay, so Councillor Brooks, are you wanting to make a motion to that amendment?
thank you. So yeah, I move to amend Part 9, 40 and 41, their fee schedule to be $1,000 each.
Thank you very much for the motion. I'll now call for any comment, question, debate on the motion. And I'll call the motion. All in favor? All opposed? That is carried. Well, you're increasing it from 300 to 1,000? Yeah. Okay, that is carried. So was that for 40 and 41? Okay. As we move through the agenda, was there anything else, Mr. Rossing?
Still looking for second and third reading of the actual bylaw with the amendment now.
Okay, so Councillor Wheeler was wanting, when we look at Appendix A for the maximum speed limit, she was wanting to talk about 35th Street, which is Range Road 73. Did you want to talk about that now or after second reading?
I'd prefer, if possible, we can finish the bylaw, and then we can have further discussions on the policy at that point.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion for second reading? Did you have a question still? Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
Sorry, can you give me a clear definition of recreational vehicle?
Recreational vehicle, let me see, do we have it actually defined in here? I believe we do. So as per the definitions, 3.21, recreational vehicle means vehicle designed or used for travel with temporary living accommodation for vacation or camp purposes. So your normal RV is a recreational vehicle.
Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I move that council approve second reading of the traffic safety bylaw 2026-03P as amended.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion to approve third and final reading of the traffic safety bylaw? Councillor Finn, thank you.
Sorry. I move that council approve third and final reading of traffic safety bylaw 2026-03P as presented.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And now we are needing a motion to approve the speed limit policy, but there is a discussion prior to that around the request from Councillor Wheeler. That is for 36th Street, Range Road 73. So that's between Township Road 491 and Township Road 493. I believe her request is to increase the speed to 80 kilometers. That would be after the water treatment plant? Is that what she's,
That would be from the four-way stop
oh, from the four-way?
further.
Yes, thank you for that information. So the town of Drayton Valley doesn't actually have control over the roadway on Range Road 73 at the four-way intersection. There's a period of road approximately 300 meters, which actually is under the control of Brazeau County. So they would be responsible for any amendments to speed limits should they be desirous to make those changes. In essence, where the town of Drayton Valley takes over ownership and control of the roadway is at the southern border of the water treatment plant, and then that goes all the way north up to Township Road 494. So I believe it's in this agenda package as well, and we've talked about it a little bit at a previous Governance and Priorities Committee meeting. Some information from the speed sign that were placed in the area, which includes maximum speeds, minimum speeds, average speeds. So that's available for council to review and provide some of those insights of what are people actually traveling on those roads. If council is desirous to make that amendment, we can add that in under Appendix A. We would just make those slight amendments to include that particular section of roadway to be included or increased up to 80 kilometers per hour. Then we would just need to work with our public works crews to get those signage changed in that area. So
we could even put that after the water treatment plant? Well, or
on the south end.
just on this other side, for
Yeah.
the 80 there. Councillor Finn?
So right now, the 80 zone starts at the top of the coulee, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So we can move it back to the water treatment, but from that four-way to the water treatment is Brazeau County, so it'd be 60 until you hit the water treatment plant, and then basically 80 past there.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, I'm good with that. Yeah, is that coulee road, is that an okay speed for that coulee, for that corner?
I haven't reviewed the guidelines from the province and the Manual of Traffic Control Devices of Canada to have a proper recommendation on whether or not that'd be supported by administration or not. Just be mindful as well, there is a lot of pedestrians that use that area, the walking way, especially at the coulee. Coulee is right next to the guardrails, so just something to be considered of as well if we are making these changes. So.
And we did have a speed sign there for a little bit, so I think we have speed sign data on that as well, correct?
70 is around 70 or 72 kilometers, I believe.
Because that speed sign was there for a little bit. It was southbound, I think, though.
So we've got from January 31st till March 4th, we had right at the old entrance to HW Pickup, whatever road that is, 58th Avenue or something like that.
Yeah.
We had the sign there, so right before you actually go into the coulee. The 85th percentile was 72 kilometers per hour.
People are speeding anyways. Coasting down the hill.
When we go in there, the maximum speed in that essentially 5-week window was 107 kilometers per hour.
Whoa.
So that's probably Counselor Wheeler. Did you have any other questions or comments?
No, I would be okay with that, from the water treatment plant to the,
Just changing it now?
just north, yeah.
Yep. Counselor Brooks?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm 100% on the same page. I had written this whole thing out here, just the description, but I was going to go from 50th Ave. So how would we describe where it begins, the southern border of the water treatment plant? Is that just what we would call it?
I think from a motion standpoint, that'd be sufficient, and then we would just figure out the actual proper
Okay.
landmark that we would include in the actual appendix
Town
before
boundary,
signing.
yeah.
Okay. And then it ends at Township Road 494. Is that correct? That's where we end?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so then, if I may, make a motion to amend?
Go ahead. Are you just going to make a motion to approve the speed limit policy with the
No,
amendment?
it'll be to amend. I think I have to make the motion to amend it, and then I have another one after, but we're on this subject, and I think it's pretty unanimous. So,
Did you want to include both your amendments?
I might do them just one at a time.
Okay.
The other one might
Other
not
one
be
you're not
quite as
very confident
supportive.
with.
That's
Okay.
right. So, okay, so then I move to amend Appendix A of the maximum speed limits policy between the southern border of the water treatment plant and Township Road 494 to be 80 kilometers an hour
And just to clarify, that's on,
on Range
Range Road
Road.
73.
That's the one, Range Road 73. I had written that down, but
Thank you very much for that. So there is a motion to the amendment of Schedule A. Is there any comment, question, debate on the motion? Counselor Finn?
My only question on that, so with that section being belonging to the county, do we want to put anything in that we have, like, to advise them that we've, like, we obviously will advise them, but if they want to make that motion, then they can do that as well too, from that four-way? Is that kind of,
that's conversation administration we'll just have with counties
okay,
administration.
so we don't have to do anything further, the motion's on the table, we're good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Counselor Brooks had made the motion for the amendment to the Schedule A. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Next up,
okay, and then the other one has to do with the Aspen View subdivision. I had some people, while I was campaigning, talking about how the speed limit's too high. And we did notice, so I've driven in there, right? And going 50, when there's cars parked on either side, feels bloody fast. And then while we had the statistics for the speed limit, the speed that people were actually going in there, the maximum that somebody was going was 55, which I feel like I'm flying at 40 in there. And I think it should be 40, kind of based on that. I think it's a lot safer, especially if there's children playing and that sort of thing. And another thing is that, somebody going 55, while that's very fast for that area, I don't know if the CPOs are going to be pulling people over for going 5 over in a 50 zone, but I think that should be dropped down to 40. And so with that, I would make a motion if I'm allowed, and it can pass or fail. We can see what happens. Madam Mayor, is that all right?
go ahead, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I move to change the speed limit to 40 kilometers an hour within the Aspen View subdivision.
Thank you very much for the motion. Comment, question, debate on the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Finn first.
My only comment is we don't have any other 40 zones in town, so we'd have to amend the map visual and everything, so I think it's gonna be a lot for administration. I think people drive to what they feel safe driving, but I will not be in agreement with that motion.
Councillor Jeffrey.
Just to clarify, we're talking about the entire Aspen View neighborhood. It's a
Sorry.
lot.
It's pretty hard to get up to 50 in some of those places, like, so that it's 50, kind of, well, I'm not saying it's stunting, but it can encourage that similar behavior, right? I'm allowed to go 50, so I'm gonna go 50, even if I don't have the space to reasonably do so.
Any further comment, question, debate on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I do want to direct back to the speed limits that we were talking about. So for the average driven on Beckett Road, there was 38 across the board. And then like the higher percentage was like 40, 45. And so technically people are already driving that 40 to 45. Like, I would say there are some people that are probably doing 50s and above, but most people aren't. And there's a reason for that, because people don't feel comfortable doing that there. And so for us to change that aspect of just Aspen View, we would have to change all the signage for that area. If you were gonna do it and you were concerned just about one residential, you probably should change all residential. Not that I agree with that. I think for the most part, not that I'm saying people don't speed, and 50 does seem very excessive, and I agree with that. But yeah, the changes in order to do all of that and to implement it across the town is probably a bit expensive and ridiculous, and I'm just not sure that people are, you can spray paint them.
Okay, let's not be spray painting any
Let's
signs.
not. You can get a ticket for that, actually. I think, did we
Yes.
just move it to $1,000?
I think we just
hope
moved
so.
the ticket.
Anyways, so I don't think that moving things to 40, just in one specific area of town, would be the most effective. If we were to do that, we should probably do a townwide policy. And at the same time, I don't agree with that, because 50 is fairly reasonable on most roads. I know that in a lot of residential, people are usually slower than that anyways, so.
Thank you, Councillor Bowen. Mr. Rossi, go ahead.
Just to touch on that as well, thanks for clarifying that it was all of Aspen View and not just a particular road there. Based off of a very highly quick look here, to properly sign that area, under the Alberta Traffic Safety Act, the maximum posted speed limit, or the maximum speed limit is 50 kilometers per hour in an urban area unless it's signed otherwise. So because it's not a blanket across the municipality, we could change our legislation to fit that, so we don't have to put a sign on every road. But in the absence of it being just a particular neighborhood, every single entrance to each roadway we'd have to sign. So quick look at the map here, we'd probably be looking at about 25 plus new signs would be installed in that area, which is gonna affect the streetscape. It's also gonna start affecting whatever the cost for signs to be installed. And if we're putting them up and in 2 weeks taking them down, again, if that council wants to do that, we can do that. But again, just wanted to make sure that council is aware of those kind of considerations as well if we are installing 25-ish signs in that particular neighborhood.
Thank you for that. Final comment, Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. Might not be the final one, but we'll see what happens. 25 signs. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's 3 entrances to the place, and you don't need them throughout. You need, where's the 4th one? Oh, you're right, there is a 4th one by Marat. But I don't see a need for 25 signs. I don't think that we need to change the speed limit everywhere. And actually, the fact that people are driving on average 38 actually speaks to how the speed limit should be much lower, right? And if people are only comfortable doing 38 on average, then, and somebody's doing 50 and it's actually dangerous, you can't enforce on somebody doing 55, which is very fast for the area. And I know it's the will of council, it's up to council, but I don't want something to happen and then for us to go, oh, you know what? We should have probably reduced the speed limit. I don't want a child to die or, an elderly person crossing the road to get hit. before we do something about this. So maybe it is the final comment. I think I might have said it all. So that's what I think.
Thank you very much for that. I will go to Councillor Bowen for the final comment, then I'll call the motion.
Thanks, appreciate that, sorry. So one additional comment to that is just looking at the motor vehicle collisions. We have had 0 in that area since 2016, so it's been 10 years. We haven't had any issues yet. I don't think we're going to start now, plus I don't even know how long that subdivision's been there, but I haven't heard of any fatalities occurring down there, other than some people driving very, very late at night smashing into houses because they're drunk, but that does happen.
That wasn't an Aspen View.
No, there actually did happen in Aspen View. Yeah, my one brother's house, it was unbelievable, but that's
49th.
the one corner that just happens. But anyways, yeah, it does happen.
49th. Okay, so there is a motion on the floor. Councillor Brooks had made the motion to change the speed limit to 40 kilometers in the Aspen View area. I do appreciate your motion and your concern of the safety and speaking for the residents that you had discussions with as you were campaigning. I will now call the motion. All in favor? All opposed? That is defeated. Thank you. That was a good discussion. So now I'm needing a motion for, to approve the speed limit policy for C0426 with the amendment. Councillor Clark?
I will make the motion that council approves speed limit policy C0426 with amendments.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? And I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And that wraps up 8.5. Thank you very much for that. We will jump into 8.6, which is the STARS. This was Councillor Finn as one of our additions this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody, I don't know if you want to stick around for this one as well. So we had a presentation from STARS back in April. They have requested that we go into a 3-year partnership at $14,600 a year. We did meet with community safety, this community safety committee last week, and we did discuss it. We definitely feel that they are of value to the community, and out of agreement, the Community Safety Committee has brought it back to council that the $14,600 be funded out of the Travis Fund for this year and then be added to as a line item for future years.
For discussion for our next budget?
Yeah. Yeah, so 2026 will be covered underneath the Travis Fund, and then the next 2 years, because they were looking for a 3-year partnership, they did move to a flat amount rather than a per capita.
Perfect.
So that is the motion we'd like to bring forward, that we approve $14,600 out of the Travis Fund for STARS Air Ambulance for
2026?
2026. Nope.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? My only question would be, and we have significant funds in the Travis Fund to cover this?
We do have sufficient dollars in the Community Safety Fund that would be able to cover this for 2026.
Perfect. Councillor Jeffrey, did you have a further question?
Just a comment that I certainly appreciate that we're making this move. It's a very viable and important place to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So there's a motion on the floor to fund STARS $14,600 for the year of 2026 out of the Travis Fund. I will now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you for that. Next up is 8.7. This is the letter of support for the ACI grant. Mr. Grant, would you like to speak to this?
Certainly. In accordance with last week's joint council meeting, there was a conversation reference whether we should go forward with a letter supporting DVCF's application going forward for the ACI only. Yesterday, the county supported moving forward with the letter of support from the county to DVCF regarding the ACI application. What we discussed with this council was, at that meeting, so the councilors here largely discussed whether the letter of support should be limited in scope, whether it should be consistent with what the county is doing, or whether it should have a larger, more broad discussion aspect to it. There have been some comments regarding to what the letter should include, including the fact that Any support letter coming from the town of Drayton Valley should be in support solely of the application going forward with no financial commitments being made beyond that, being an explicit comment, as well as any further or future support from the town to DVCF for the ACI or for a dome or other indoor facility to require things such as a feasibility study, community engagement plan. So what does the community really want versus what do we all think they might want? And a concept plan of some sort. I would suggest to council that potentially in this case, we might be going off madly in all directions with the idea of simply a dome instead of doing a proper platform analysis. And that could be part of the feasibility, bless you, that could be part of the broader feasibility study where there's actually a cost benefit analysis to a dome versus a field house, with all other things being equal, the size, the usage, all of those concepts. Of course, whatever council wants to do, that's a tune we'll dance to, but I would put that extra bit in there for consideration. I think that's it for me.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. So you said in this would be a letter of support, you're recommending solely on the application, not on the financial obligation. For the feasibility and the concept, were you saying that would be handled by the foundation? Is it in your letter? Is that what you said? Sorry?
I would absolutely recommend that the foundation comes back with that work already done prior to council's making any recommendations. I'm sure there's a number of ways to work with that with the foundation. Should they want to move forward with that? There's some creative avenues to pursue there for sure. But I would suggest that that's work that the foundation needs to be responsible for. However it gets paid for is a different problem.
Thank you for that. Any questions for administration? Comments? Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion to send a letter of support to the Drayton Valley Community Foundation for the ACI grant, outlining the suggested, wording that Mr. Grant had spoke about? Go ahead, Councillor Finn.
I move that council direct administration to provide a letter of support to the Drayton Valley Community Foundation for their application for the Active Community Initiatives Grant with recommendations from Mr. Grant.
And no financial,
So it's solely a letter of support with no financial obligations at this point.
perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Go ahead, Mr. Grant.
The only addition I would like to make is that council in the motion includes permitting the mayor and CAO or acting interim CAO to sign the letter once you're comfortable with it. That way we can push it out in a timely basis. We can share it via draft if you'd like, or whatever that looks like, but I think that would be timely.
Go ahead, Councillor Finn.
Can I add to my motion?
Yeah, absolutely.
That signed by the mayor and acting CEO or interim CAO. Yeah.
So typically, we would just have letter of support would go on behalf of the town of Drayton Valley by the mayor. Are you requesting that to do a dual signature?
So, I would recommend a dual signature just because of some of the other conversations that have been happening over the past number of weeks. That whole conversation about staff and council being on the same page, complete transparency, all of those types of things. I think that falls in line with council's intent. I'm happy to follow previous policies, of course, but either way is fine by me.
Perfect.
Yeah, which one's to the left? Sounds first.
So there is a motion on the floor. Ms. Thompson, did you capture the motion?
So the council sends a letter of support to the Drayton Valley Community Foundation for their application for the Active Community Initiative Grant signed by the mayor and CEO.
Solely for the application and no financial obligation. Did you get that? Okay, wonderful. So there is a motion, I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And I believe that wraps up our decision items this morning. Are we wanting to move into closed at this time?
I would recommend that you tackle the closed issues and then go to the roundtable thereafter. It just
Okay.
seems to be
Perfect.
logical flow.
Yeah, we can take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back and move into close then. Perfect. Is there a member of council that would like to move us into close, please? Go ahead, Councillor Bowen.
I move that council move into closed session at 10:04 a.m. in accordance with the Access to Information Act, Section 29 1D and C, as well as Section 23B.
Thank you very much for that. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Are we ready? Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Councillor Finn, for moving us out of closed. We do have one motion coming out of closed. Is there a member of council that would like to make that? Go ahead, Councillor Finn.
I move that council varies the community standards bylaw order dated May 8th, 2026, issued for Lot 2, Block 11, Plan 5935HW by changing the date of compliance by changing the date of compliance date to October 31st, 2026, with no further extensions permitted.
No opportunity.
No opportunities for further extensions.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Ms. Thompson, did you capture that motion? Perfect. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Perfect. We'll move along the agenda and we'll jump back into our council reports. Councillor Boehm, you are up first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Love going first. Yeah, so since our last council meeting, I was actually at the ACCPA conference during our last one, so I was able to Skype in and kind of be a part of our last meeting, which was great. It was a good conference, talked a lot about gangs and how they're starting to move a little bit more rural and kind of things that we can do at the rural level in order to keep our kids from getting involved in those, as well as a few other things. Outside of that, I've done quite a few things, actually. So we had a joint meeting with the county, just discussing a few potentials, which is pretty cool. One of the things that came forward today was that ACI grant letter and support, so that was good. We had our GNP meeting last Wednesday, and then, yesterday we did a tour of the landfill here in town, so it was great to go through and see all the exciting things that they're doing at the landfill. So hopefully we can keep that dump clean.
Thank you very much for your report. Councillor Brooks?
Thank you. So we had a regular, why can't I speak right now? I don't know. But we had our recreation board meeting on March 30? No, it's April 27th. Reading the wrong thing. And a couple items that popped out of there. We've already dealt with most of them. There was we were going to invite the DVCF to a joint council meeting, which has already happened. But under projects, we are applying for the grants for the HVAC and the ice plant. We have the golf tournament. They're working on sponsorships, and the proceeds for the golf tournament, as I understand it, are going to be going to All Our Daughters, Cause for Critters, and the Eleanor Pickup Arts Center. Beyond that, our 10-year regional recreation and culture facilities master plan, the contractor's preparing to speak to the joint councils, and that's kind of all I have.
Perfect, thank you for that. Councillor Jeffrey?
Okay, so we're just looking at the last week for this report since governance or since the last
Since
regular?
our regular council to the last 2 weeks,
Okay,
yes.
all right. So given that, since that council meeting, there has been a Brazo Foundation housing meeting and discussion about where they're at with their project. They're at that, looking at the first stage of concept plan, I think is what it's called. So that's been sort of a work in progress there. The Star Catholic meeting that we had was interesting. My understanding from that meeting is that there is some work being done regarding the school resource officer, as well as the lease agreement that we have with that school division regarding the space inside Holy Trinity School. I did attend the Healthy Aging Forum at Ceva Beach. And for me, the most important part of that was realizing that healthy aging is connected with our local FCSS. So I have it on my to-do list to meet with them to find out exactly what is being done in our community. Sorry. Rural Wealth Workshop I attended and learned, it was my purpose in being there, was to find out what's meant by community land trusts, and I know that now. And the discussion about the need for attainable housing, and I find that interesting to think about attainable versus affordable. That's not necessarily the same meaning. And so that there's some potential for moving forward there. It'll be interesting. A lot of what I heard that day, we've had some programming in our community, the Humans Helping Humans programming, similar to what was described from the White Court area. Or not White Court, White Horse area. It was a very interesting day. And of course, yesterday's landfill tour was very interesting. I learned lots there. Health Foundation meeting last night, couple of things there. There will be a staff change happening there. The executive director that's currently there, the contract is being changed there. And likely they'll be looking at an admin assistant position being created. Financially, they're in a, I think, a good place in terms of future. They're looking at, right now, I think equipment for the physio department is the next donation they'll be making.
Thank you for your report. Councillor Clark?
Thank you. So a couple things that I've been up to, the joint council meeting. I think just the one thing I would like to say there is there's always great discussion there, and there's always lots of room and appetite for collaboration with the county. I think we're in a good spot with them. Star Catholic, just real quick, sounds like they did receive some funding to do some preliminary work on the school replacement for St. A's. During our GMP meeting, we did have some leadership training with Pat Voss, and I think those sorts of sessions are always worthwhile. You can always glean something from them in terms of being a leader and those sorts of things, so that was great. Attended a DVHTA, Hospitality and Tourism Authority meeting. One thing I will say about that group is there's a real concerted effort to help support this community in terms of, marketing Drayton Valley and making sure that, the community groups are supported, and they certainly do a great job of that as a group. And then lastly, the council landfill tour. I think a lot of people think that the landfill is just you take garbage there and it gets buried. There's a lot more to it than that, and I think that helped us kind of understand what where those fees go that people pay when they go there, as well as we learned kind of some short-term, mid-term, and some longer-term ideas around that landfill. So I think that was very good. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you for that. Councillor Wheeler. Oh, Councillor Wheeler, or Deputy Wheeler will go, and then I'll go to you. I'm mixing it up a bit.
So me?
Yeah, you, let's go.
Yeah, just making sure I got it right. So I was at McHappy Days. I was proud our community raised $4,700 to go to the Ronald McDonald House where families can stay when their family is in the hospital. So I think that's wonderful. We had the, joint council meeting in Star Catholic. And then I went and got to tour the Kickstand Youth Hub. So they have approached the youth committee and asked if we can look at partnering or joining potentially. The youth committee, we have, but they also have a youth committee. And so they were curious to see what our committees both do and have the committees meet and see if there's some synergies there. There's other communities that have done that with their groups, so we're just kind of investigating that, as well as still looking for new members. So if anyone knows a youth, it's quite open, 13 to 25, who's interested in joining our committee, that would be great. Send them our way. And then I got to attend the Frank Maddock High School had their Fine Arts Night, which is super fun. The kids all have like food truck wars, so they all make foods and you get to go. One is off. Can you guys hear me? There was a check stop. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, which was super awesome. I love that they were checking people, making sure everyone was safe and things were going good. And I also saw an update that they posted after that everything went good and this is what they found. And yeah, it was well prepared. It was super quick when we got pulled over, which we all appreciated. So yeah, just shout out to our crews working on the long weekend. And I did see them out. The CPOs were touring the campground when I was out on the weekend as well. So it's really good. That is all.
Yeah, so last week we had leadership training with Pat Voss. That was great. GNP as well. On Thursday, I had community safety meeting. We brought forward the funding for STARS today, so I think STARS is, a fantastic organization. Glad that we were able to fund that. I had an airport meeting on last Thursday as well. They're gearing up and getting the lands ready for their flying breakfast on June 13th. And then just on a personal note, Monday, we went down to the pool. Awesome to see that it was open. Thanks to admin for working with that and opening on the stat. I talked to the staff. They said it was steady down there. So good day there. And also on June 13th is Lemonade University. So there's that's coming to the community on June 13th as well. So yeah, come get some lemonade. Yeah, so that's a partnership with Community Futures. So my kids are actually, next Saturday, they go to a course on how to run a lemonade stand business. And then on the 13th, they get to put that to use. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you for your report. So McHappy Days, that's always, I think, one of my highlights of the year. It's always fun to work with the staff. Both Sam and Drina are absolutely wonderful people in our community. They do a great job there. I know their staff is always so joyful and happy to work with, so it's always nice. I don't know how much, how well we helped them. I think we got in the way more than anything. And I think now, my family's addicted to all their summer drinks. There's really cool summer drinks. So it's nice. My daughter also works at Value Drug Mart with Drina. She's a pharmacist there. So she gives my daughter the little coupons for all the summer little drinks, always brings them home. So quite funny. And it was nice that they raised the $4,700 as well. It's nice to see when you're there. It shows the Drayton Valley, Drumheller, Hinton, and Drayton Valley is like top notch when it comes to how many people they serve. They're probably like 4 times as many
Times and how long.
customers they have opposed to other communities our size. It's crazy, the amount of traffic that goes through. So good on them. I had a couple mid-sized mayor's town meeting. So what we're talking about now is the upcoming meeting that we'll be having with Minister Williams. That again will be pushing that formula forward for additional supplementary funding for infrastructure. We don't know of a date yet, so once I hear of the date, we're going to be hosting. So we don't know if we're hosting it at the Ledge or a room or something. So I want to make sure that whatever date is, that all of council comes to that. As well as we had a couple joint council meetings. It's always good to be collaborating with our partners. We seem to really be on the same page when it comes to initiatives and projects and things like that, which is really nice. Star Catholic, as everyone has mentioned. Look forward to hearing, how things go with them as they have discussions around a new school and what that will look like. Pat Voss leadership training, which is always good for a reminder in these roles, what that looks like and the people that we serve around the table and the residents and everything like that. I had the privilege of being invited to MAB and K-Division to present on behalf of the town of Drayton Valley and mid-sized mayors, just to talk about the issues, challenges, and prolific offenders and crime that goes on in rural communities like Drayton Valley. And one of the things that was really highlighted was us doing the community impact statement. That was something that MAB hadn't heard of. K-Division, of course, has seen that come forward, but that was a real touching point from them, because they said not only does it allow our community to have a voice when it comes to these prolific offenders and what they, the impact they have on our community, but to the families and the friends and the victims, but it also stays on their records, right? It stays with the warden, the parole, it's there for good, so it's always nice to see, so that helps build strength to the repeat offenders and any sort of cases coming up, so I'm looking forward to us driving that forward. And then, of course, we had the landfill tour. It's nice to be touring our facilities and who operates those. And I think we talked about getting out some comms pieces going forward to where you're putting your batteries and paint and toxic materials and things like that. I think we forget sometimes that all of that is combustible and what the impact it does have on our landfill. So just some reminders going out to the community, and we got some battery boxes there to fill and maybe to give to other people that they get money back for their batteries, as well as metal next to highlight. And yeah, so it was a good tour. Looking forward to the upcoming tours that council will be having as well for the rest of our facilities. And that wraps up everybody's council reports. Is there a member of council that would like to make a motion to accept these as information? Councillor Jeffrey, thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And then we lastly move into our council items, roundtable discussion. Does anybody have anything? We're seeing our potholes being filled, our streets are being cleaned. Do we have some sort of, maybe could you see, Troy, for rotation on the street sweeper? I noticed some of the streets still haven't been cleaned. If there's a plan, for that going forward.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for that. And then we'll be moving into, or we have moved into dandelions and other things that you'll see start to draw attention. And then I just want to say too, thank you to the team and everybody for the cleanup at the landfill. It's looking really, really good, so really appreciate that. I've been hearing a lot of positive feedback from the community, how well it's appreciated, and I think that the next steps will be for us is looking at long-term, right? How are we maintaining and keeping that area clean and following our community standards bylaw and all that? I believe that there will be, because we did break this into a couple different phases, that will be being brought forward to our next, is it GMP or council?
I think the intent for the larger strategy is to come to GMP for a discussion, make sure everybody's happy with the direction, and then finally to bring it forward as a decision or direction from council to deal with actually actioning a real life plan for resolving some degree or percentage of homelessness within the community. The initial draft plan has calls for a 75% reduction in the homeless community in the next 5 to 7 years, but and there's been a lot of background work with the supporting elements, whether that's Alberta Health Services, FCSS, Humans Helping Humans, Warming Hearts. Everybody seems to be on board and wants to see this move forward, so I'm excited to finally bring that forward to you guys.
Perfect, thank you. We did bring it up at our joint council too for some sort of support. They did have their meeting yesterday. Did you hear anything from Rudy?
I haven't heard an update on the cost sharing that was put forward to them. So I think what they're going to be looking for from us is what were our actual costs, and then seeing what they can do to help out. I'll follow up.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because we did ask for hours, equipment, and then I think there was a role we were questioning if our CPOs or their CPOs could assist with doing rotations and helping as well.
Roger.
I think that was it, right? Okay, anything else roundtable? Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
Just a point, the last FCSS meeting I attended, the point came up that they typically would offer that shredding program opportunity where you could
Shred it, yeah.
take your stuff to get shredded. They can no longer do that. So the point was brought up, the question was brought up, whether maybe our BSN might want to take on a project like that, to put the unit in the town parking lot, make it a social gathering, et cetera. So I don't know if that's gone over, been passed on.
Yes, it absolutely has. So with the BSM and potentially a sponsorship partner, the idea is to make this a little bit of a larger community event and bring it forward as both a business networking event, as well as a community event, as well as a community safety conversation paid for through the business networks, not through taxpayer dollars. So it's a little bit of a dynamic first time, so everybody's just kind of feeling each other out at the front end, but the momentum created by FCSS in doing this, we just don't want to lose that. And I think this could be a bigger event.
That'd be good, because people are asking, are we doing that again, or when can they expect the shredding to happen? So, good, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And then just a question to maybe Public Works. When can we expect our graduation banners to go up? I know we're moving into that season here, it's coming up. And I believe, I'm not sure when they're going up. I don't think they're up already.
I'll get an answer back to you on that directly. I don't have an answer for you.
No, fair enough. Okay, if there is no other roundtable, then we'll move to 10.1. Drayton Valley Community Foundation Agreement Update.
Roger, so I sent out over the weekend an update on what the agreements look like between what they provided and what we went back with. Fundamentally, the agreement is exactly as council wanted it to be. We just have to do some aligning of times, so they do a biannual instead of a quarterly event. And some of our things like TAB don't align with some of their stuff, so there are some things that we're looking at, but that draft format that you received this weekend was sent back to DVCF for their comments. And I noticed that during a council meeting today, I received something from DVCF. I haven't read it yet. So unless there's any direct questions on what that policy looks like, I think the update is what I shared with you this weekend, but I'm happy to talk about it.
Councillor Wheeler?
Yeah, I have a question on section 5. So when you're talking about disbursements.
Oh, your mic.
A question about section 5, when you're just talking about disbursements and growth. It just says that the foundation may grant distributions from the fund at any time once sufficient funds are available. Such distributions may be from income or capital. And I wasn't sure if that's how we intended it. I thought that it was going to be locked in, like in an endowment, and they can't spend the capital. I wasn't comfortable with the section 5 there.
Yeah, I think you're talking about principal versus capital, but, so they can't spend the principal, just the interest.
Okay. So that's capital does not mean principal.
Not at all.
Okay, then, yeah.
Yeah, if they spend the principal, then we can't grow the fund to where we need it to be.
Agreed, which, yeah, would have been my concern if they're allowed to, or I thought in the future, if we had extra interest and it went back in, so we reached the capital sooner, still the principal, I still wouldn't want them to be able to spend the principal.
Nope, they can't.
Okay,
Is that clear in language, do you think?
if that's common language, then that's fine. For me, it wasn't, and I wasn't sure with the community foundation what language they would typically say there.
I think it's a fair question. It is common contractual language, but DVCF will come back if they don't like that language, and we can negotiate however that, like, at the end of the day, the agreement has to work primarily for the town of Drayton Valley and the citizens that it represents, and secondarily DVCF, which is generally why the contract looks the way it does instead of the way it was presented to us. So we just want to put some language in there that allows for naturally collaborative behavior, but also protects the funds that are going in from the people of Drayton Valley.
Yeah, so 11.2 kind of says the same thing. So like, once the fund has reached the sustainability threshold, it's intended to support ongoing annually distributions. It says, but the community foundation may nonetheless make distributions from capital where necessary to comply with its distribution quota.
Yeah, that's it.
Just had a brainwave. I'm wondering if what that refers to is that there's a commitment on behalf of the foundation to ensure that that certain amount of money is available every year, regardless of what's interest or what's earned.
That's exactly the
Okay.
intent. So should there be some interruption for whatever reason, and I know the fund that DVCF is investing in, and it's outperformed its requirements for sure over the 5-year average, but for whatever reason, if it doesn't, then DVCF is able to use their own funds to meet our requirements. Additionally, that paragraph also allows for a weird little nuance where they're committed under the current law to send out 5%, not including administrative fees. And sometimes, but the biggest problem that DVCF is going to have, and admittedly, is that they need to find ways to push money out to meet that requirement. The federal government is increasing that by 2.5%. So now they need to find ways, I like to call it the easy button. That clause kind of puts an easy button into their ability to push money out. So it's good for them. And additionally, it's good for us because with the amount of money that annually we push out, we don't meet the needs of all of the groups that come asking for money. So they'll be able to say, oh geez, we've got an extra $1,000 that we can put towards this grant, and they can piggyback with us or increase whatever it is. So it allows them a pressure valve to take some of that off of their plate.
Yeah, which is great, and I'd hope they would do that and grant as much as they can out as possible, for sure. I just want to make sure, it's just the way the two sentences are, it's setting it up saying it'll be granted without depleting the principal. But they may make contributions from the capital where necessary. It's, yeah. If you're saying this is normal and that's what they do, that's fine, but the way it reads to me as someone who doesn't read these contracts very often is that they won't touch the principal unless they need to grant out more money for something, so.
I think that's a fair question for clarification, but the principal never gets touched. Our principal doesn't get touched, their capital may.
Yeah. And then it also references FOIP, and I wasn't sure if we actually still have to reference FOIP. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
so we just might need to update the acronym.
yeah, and that's a me add-in, so I wasn't 100% sure on whether FOIP was completely repealed or not. Hence, I plugged it in there just to make sure everybody's butts were appropriately covered.
That was it. The rest is good. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councillor Jeffrey.
Oh, thank you. I still just want to clarify, I think we figured out the granting and the dollars part of it all. I just want to clarify in terms of actually making, doing the decisions about who gets the grants. Is that going to be made still within the town? Or is that a decision, those decisions being made by the granting committee of the foundation?
The granting committee of the foundation.
Okay, so then the applications, the advertising for the different categories, et cetera, will be made by the foundation. Applications will be received by the foundation. They'll make the decisions.
Generally speaking, I anticipate that we'll receive the applications and we'll forward them over to DVCF. I would suggest that we'll also continue to make sure that on our public site advertisements are there as well. So it'd be a joint effort to make sure the widest distribution without disruption to the general population. Because all of a sudden, we have to go to a different site to make applications. It's better that they're available jointly, I think.
Okay, so just a comment there, because I am on that granting committee, I know that typically for an endowment fund, to be used for giving out the grant, that as a granting committee, we would say, this particular application, the dollars are available in this fund. We need to always double check with the owner of the endowment fund to ensure that that meets their expectation. So I'm assuming the same thing would happen here.
That's the exact conversation Tara and I had.
And where is that captured in the agreement?
I don't think it's captured in that agreement. It's part of the procedures. It's not part of the contract.
Gotcha. Counselor Finn?
Yeah, that was my only comment, was that I think final approval will come by the town. So the recommendation will come to the town to allocate the funds. I think we did make a motion to approve up to $1,000 without having to come, to come to council, which we had already approved previously. So anything over 1,000 will have to come to us for final approval, but they can disperse anything up to 1,000, I think is kind of what the policy, the guidelines of each grant currently reads.
So then we'll just have like a list of, if there's 10 applicants, they'll come to the council meeting,
Yep.
this much, and then we'll go, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so same process as what administration recommendations to be the same,
Yeah.
but they'll vet the applications and such.
Okay. Any other questions? Just to get clarity too, that we're agreeing to contribute 36,000 annually, and then the 1.9 fee will come out of the 36, or how is that then? It's not additional, is it?
No, I believe it comes out of the 36.
It comes out of the 36, okay. Because, yeah, there was a little bit of, I think, uncertainty of if that number was 36 or 45 or something, but it will be the 36. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So we're just waiting, kind of still going back and forth to finalize this, and then,
Yeah, we're kind of on their timelines. I'm responding as quickly as I get. They're super busy over there, obviously, so without too much pressure on them, but there is a little bit, not too much though.
okay, wonderful, thank you. So just before we leave council items, I did forget that we do have a joint meeting with Wildrose School Division in Brazeau County coming up next week. I will be away, I believe. A couple of us will be away. Did anybody have any questions or comments around the agenda that you received? We'll be talking about the JUPAs. What was the recruitment? What is the town and county involvement in recruitment?
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. It's
Okay, so
not our
that's,
item.
Sports Dome is them, Sports Field will be them, CCAN. Okay, that's them, modernization, busing is the county, Northern Lakes College Trade. Is this us? We'll have someone available to speak to this as well?
Yes, the Northern Lakes trades setup. We did the walkthrough yesterday. It's good to go. So they're going to be putting that up here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so we'll have whatever information they may need at the meeting? Perfect. Okay, and you're going, so you chair on behalf of the town then? Okay, perfect. We typically do bring admin, yeah. The CAO would go with us in the past. Is this week or next week? Go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
I just want to make sure we're prepared, because we put the JUPAs on there, that we're prepared to speak to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I asked a couple weeks ago, I think, to make sure we have the agreement before we get there, so.
So yeah, the JUPA deadline is 10 June. So everything has to be squared away before the 10th of June. I can send you out the draft copies this afternoon.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Sure.
And
Just
if
so
you're
that
not
we know what
prepared, then just, yeah, say administrations can work, and then, yeah, if we have.
It would be nice to have a
don't know.
copy of them, so when we're going into it, we kind of know what the
What's the
negotiations are going to be,
conversation,
what way we need to, yeah.
We're not looking to negotiate there though, right? Let's just make sure we're not doing anything in terms of trying to negotiate there, because that's kind of up to these folks.
No, 100%.
Thank you.
Okay, we're good then? Perfect. Okay, moving along, information items, 11.1, Mayor's Task Force meeting minutes from the April 20th, 2026 meeting, and then we have 11.2, Provincial DNA Lab. Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion to receive these as information? Councillor Wheeler, thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried. That wraps up our agenda, and we will adjourn our meeting at 11:54 a.m. this morning.